What if Edward Gibbons were to write about the fall of the American Empire?
The decline and fall of the American Empire. It was in the fullness of its dominion when the American Republic, once the marvel of enlightened governance, began its slow and lamentable descent into decay. The vast reach of its influence, extending from the opulent towers of its financial capitals to the distant theatres of war, where its legions sought to impose order upon an unwilling world, had become at once its pride and its undoing. As the centuries turned, the virtues that had once animated its rise, an industrious spirit, the prudent management of wealth, and a commitment to civic virtue, yielded to the indulgence of faction, the rapacious greed of its elite, and a growing disdain for the very principles upon which it had been founded. Its coffers, once filled by the toil of an ambitious people, were plundered by those who, under the guise of commerce, drained the common treasury for their own insatiable luxuries. The institutions that had been designed to check corruption instead became its willing accomplices, and the pursuit of power supplanted the pursuit of justice. Yet if the rot had begun in the palaces of the mighty, it was in the hearts of the people where the true dissolution took hold. The sturdy yeoman, once the backbone of the Republic, was reduced to destitution or distracted by the idle entertainments of an age of spectacle. Where once the wisdom of learned statesmen steered the ship of state, now charlatans, appealing to the basest passions of the multitude, wielded authority. The great engines of industry and progress, which had once given the nation dominion over the earth and sky, fell into disrepair as knowledge was forsaken for superstition, and science, which had once promised boundless dominion over the natural world, was derided as the enemy of ancient prejudices. In such a state, foreign rivals did not need to conquer the American colossus, for it was already engaged in the laborious task of consuming itself from within. The mighty institutions that had once seemed immortal proved as fragile as the illusions upon which they had been built. Thus did the American Empire, having reached the zenith of its power, succumb to the inexorable forces that have humbled all great nations before it. The final years were not marked by a single cataclysmic event, but by the slow erosion of the bonds that had once held it together. The provinces, once bound by a common cause, drifted apart, their allegiances given to lesser chieftains and local warlords. The grand projects of civilization were abandoned as resources were squandered on the petty conflicts of a fragmented world. The once proud banners of its legions, now little more than mercenary forces in service to private wealth, fell in battle to adversaries whom a greater generation